It's your boy Kyle Alexander and Michelle. Hi. And this is the KM Book Club. We are here.
Wait, that wasn't the start.
Yes, it is. In this episode, I know we told you guys that we were going to have a guest speaker. However, this person is extremely busy. So in the meantime, I'm going to have to give you another book, which we are in luck because we got books on books on books. So in this episode, we are actually reviewing Unlocked by T.D. Jakes.
Bishop.
This is a pretty good book. This was actually my second read for the KM Book Club. This was a good one, and I'm glad I actually got to dive way more into it this time. Before we start, just to let you guys know that this is a book club. We're just doing a review of the books that we have read for 2017 and now 2018.
Hey.
Yeah, you see us,
Let's get it.
Just letting you know what we liked, what we didn't like, things that stuck out to us, the highlights, the lowlights, and just wanted to share with y'all what we do, how we do it, and what we reading, the knowledge that we're getting.
PSA.
PSA?
This is not dating or relationship advice.
At all.
We're literally reading books on these 5 topics, which are
Give us a thumbs up, a like, a share,
subscribe,
all that good type of stuff.
Absolutely.
Just stay in the loop with us, all right, you guys? So let's go ahead and dive on in. The first thing we're going to touch on is...
Chose the book.
Oh, why we chose the book.
Right.
Sorry, y'all, I'm skipping. Skipping! So the reason why we chose this book is, one, I requested this book on the first Elfster that we did. And honestly, at the time, I was looking for a book that talked about walking into your purpose, walking into why you're on this earth, and making sure that you're fully pursuing it. That was something I literally probably went on Google and was like, book on purpose, and this popped up. That's the reason why I got it. I know T.D. Jakes. I watched an unlimited amount of his sermons, and I was like, all right, let's read this. I know the name. I know the brand. I know it's going to be good. I can trust it. Right. And so that's why I was like, yep, Unlocked. Step into your next level moment. Sounds like what I'm looking for. Gotcha. So that's the reason I picked it up.
I picked this up because you suggested it.
I did. Like, when we started the book club, I was
adamantly, we should read Unlocked. I already read it, but now we can read it. I was like, then you are? Yeah. But now we gonna read.
It's a good book, y'all.
I was like, yo, I hope it's good. And then it was a little book, so I was like, cool. If it's bad, it's a little book. This book is like, it's definitely a power pack book. So I'm definitely glad we picked this one up. It's a dope read.
Okay, so expectation versus reality. Again, I was already looking for this book, so my expectation was kind of all over the place. I just wanted something that had to do with something with spirit, that was spiritually talking about walking in your purpose and walking in your calling. Doing that. Right. Like, just get it done. Go ahead and do it full throttle. That's what I was looking for. Honestly, the more expectation was geared on T.D. Jakes. Like, I knew T.D. Jakes. Again, I watched his stuff. I've been enlightened, I've been encouraged, I've received revelation off of his teachings and like other books that I've read with him. My expectation was more set on T.D. Jakes rather than the book itself. Okay. My expectation versus reality was like one and the same. The book actually delivered. What about you?
So I expected a lot from this book because you kept talking about it. No, so I definitely expected a lot because you talked it up. I watched tons of T.D. Jakes. I've watched tons of T.D. Jakes sermons and listened to his podcast on the way to work. So I had high expectations for it because T.D. Jakes is like a maximize your moment book where he talks about going to the next level and what it takes to get there and how to get there in the process of it. And so my expectation was like super high, and the reality was that, like you said, he definitely delivered. We read this book so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a short book, but I want to say maybe like it wasn't even a month and we were done.
Oh yeah.
Because normally we kind of space it out, time or so many pages a day. We flew through this book. Yeah, it was just a really, really, really good read.
What else we got? Highlights and lowlights?
Highs and lows.
Highs and lows. Highlights for me, clearly there were a lot. So I'm going to start with the lowlights. So lowlights were, you know how at the end of every book, there's some like, you know, a little advertising here, a little promoting here.
That's your lowlight.
Yes, because you finish the book and you think that there's another chapter or a conclusion or a glossary. So T.D. Jakes he just went in for the fam. Like the whole family. The next 30 pages to the end of the book is another book for Cora, his daughter. Which, listen, if my dad wrote a book, Dad, like, you know, throw your girl a bone. Put me in the book. So that is what he did. A chapter from her book. After that, then he gives bonus material, which is another selection from another one of his books, it looks like a workbook.
So basically, he
to
extended
25.
the book.
He extended the book, y'all. You just took 55 pages.
So what were your highlights?
It was just like, wait, the book stopped here, and then the rest of this, can y'all see this? This is done. This is like all these other new books. So that was kind of like, oh man, I wish you would have just given me. But I get it. I do get it. I understand. Highlights were, he talks about a specific story in the Bible about Elijah and Elisha, and he dives into that and then ties everything around that story in the Bible. I wasn't that familiar with that story in the Bible. I can't speak for everybody, but I loved the fact that he broke it down to the point where I was able to take the story and take sections within that story of Elijah and Elisha and get multiple revelations and different insights on the different meanings of one story. I just thought that was good for me. At the very end, there's a prayer, and I just like prayers because it stretches my prayer that I pray. I know what I want to say, but I may not say it correctly in a manner that gives it that full authority when I'm praying, because we need to be intentional with our prayers. Right. That was good for me. How about you?
So the lowlights for me were that there's like a huge section at the end of the book that has nothing to do with the book, but I get he's putting his kids on. So those are my lowlights. The other lowlight's kind of weird. It's just that the book was too short. Like, I would have liked him to go on more about what he's discussing in the book. So I think that would have helped a lot with lowlights. Highlights for me, the book it gives you like specific things you can look for in your life to help you see like your next moment, to help you realize these things are happening in my life. My moment is like here. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really dope that he gives you almost like context clues for how to walk through life and recognize your moment, recognize when you're in your season, and then what to do after that. Because in the story of Elijah and Elisha, he talks about how they interact and they meet, and then what happens after that. So I think that's really dope because it gives you kind of like a roadmap and a guide for what to do. Yeah. So those are my highlights.
Great.
We've done highlights and lowlights.
Rating.
Wow.
Yeah, check us out.
Great. Let's go.
Okay, you guys, so for those who do not know the rating system is comprised between 1 to 5 scoring, where 1 is the lowest and 5 is the highest. Mm-hmm. 1 being
dry, 2
being
barely,
3 being
basic cable,
4 being
lucked up, and 5 is
change your life. All right, back.
You're like looking. I'm gonna write over it. Can you turn the other way? 1, 2, 3. Boom.
Look at you.
Listen, I do get 5s sometimes.
Simon of the group.
If I'm the Simon, you're the Jennifer Lopez?
It was Paula.
Paula.
Actually. Go, do you?
I'm just saying. Well, why did you?
No.
Well, listen. So I gave this a 5 because.
No. does your tat say?
With great power comes great response. Oh God, I have the power of the 5. That was good though.
Go.
Change your life. It was dope. I gave it a 5 because, I mean, this book literally has the power to change your life. It talks about you stepping into your next moment and becoming who God has called you to be. And it literally talks about unlocking your purpose. There was something I saw in here. It says, once you catch a glimpse of what you have been called into, what you're being called out of will never satisfy you again. So it's literally like, there's like an analogy of the job and a dream.
Okay.
And it's like you intersect with that, and then you realize this job was never meant for my life. This is not what I was supposed to do. It was supposed to like help me coast along until I got to that moment. Okay. And I think that's kind of what he's saying in this book. It's like once you get to that moment, once you realize what you're called for, what you're here to do, anything else will never satisfy you again. Like for us, like, you know, our purpose is music, and so it's like once you realize that, and once you kind of get a glimpse of that, and I'm sure like in both of our careers so far, there have been moments where you're like, I see it. The light bulb went off. It's like the aha moment. So it's like once you see that, you can't unsee it. Mm-hmm. Like I think we both did that show in Philly, and we both said literally the next day, how do I go back to work after this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's like a moment where you're like, it's part of you being unlocked, and it's like, I can't go back to, how do I go back to this now? Mm-hmm. And anybody who's ever had that moment, whether when you're pursuing your dream and your passion and your purpose, once you realize that moment, it's like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life. This is what I want to do.
Right.
And then T.D. Jakes, the way he puts a story together is like flawless. He always delivers. He's always on target and on point. It's always dope for me with T.D. Jakes.
Got you.
So, why did you just luck up?
Whoa, luck up?
Hey, I thought we was gonna match again. Apparently somebody is a little more unlocked. Somebody else.
I gave this book a luck up because I cannot say that it wasn't life-changing. Because this was something that I was looking for, I was looking for this. Like, I knew that I needed something that would discuss purpose, walking into your purpose, walking into the unknown, the uncertain, and going in blind. Like, really, like, T.D. Jakes literally talks about in this book, like, walking blind. And that's exactly what faith is. You're literally going in uncertain. And honestly, that's exactly what this story was between Elijah and Elisha. Mm-hmm. But he sees that moment. And Bishop Jakes talks about seizing the moment, seizing that opportunity. And we all know that a moment is temporal. Like, it's not like a eternal moment. Like a moment is literally a scope of time. So if you don't seize that moment, it does have an end. It has an expiration date. Right. So it's up to you as to whether or not you're going to follow that. If you're going to seize the opportunity, seize the moment. And Elisha seized the moment. Him going back was that defining moment. I've seen something, I've witnessed something, and I can no longer unsee it.
Yeah.
Once you unlock this door, once you unlock your potential, and he's talking about your power intersecting with your potential, right, and it being a transformation. But you have to seize the moment, or it'll just literally be a passing moment, a fleeting thought.
Right. I liked in the book where he talked about how after the power meets your potential, that nothing is the same. Mm-hmm. Nothing was the same. See that? That's how you plug like a hip hop artist. See that? There's another quote in this book that says, I can't go back to being who I was. I can't act like it didn't happen. Like, I can't unsee it. Mm-hmm. I can't ignore this whole new level of glory. I can't sit in the same place. Even though loving hands push me there, I can't stay there, mama. I love you, daddy. It's been real. I know you had a plan for my future, and I hate to mess that up, but I've been exposed to power on another level. I've been unlocked. I've got to step into the next dimension. I think that, like, describes that moment even further, because it's like, you can't go back. It's like the first time if you start a business and you get that big contract, or if you're an artist and you do that huge show, or you know what I mean? If you're a painter, you paint that's everywhere, and the art gallery picks up your painting, and now you're like, wow, this is what I was meant to do. Realizing that moment, you can't look back. It's like, where do you go from here?
Right.
He talks about recognizing the moment, because sometimes someone will say, oh, I just like stumbled into this, or God, or not even God. They'll take God out of it and think it's like a fleeting moment.
Right.
Like, I had this moment and oh, it just passes me by. This is just like a lucky. It's like, no, I think that's what's really dope about the book, is he gives you the tools to recognize that moment and recognize when you're being essentially called up. There have been moments in my life, in your life, where you've had that moment and you're just like, wow, this is what you really have for me. So then, like, how do I sit back at my desk, and I have a really good job, but how do I go back to my desk and I'm sitting there like, yep.
Like what you're saying, that's identifying your purpose.
Yeah.
It's a filling, honestly, a filling of a void. Because the last thing I want to point out, because there's one more that I want to point out, it's called the room test. First, we have the room test. I always say that if you were the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Get out. You are too big for that room. Think about it for a minute. If you're going to live at another level, you need to always be learning. You need to always be progressing. There's always something to read. There's always a seminar to watch or listen to. There's always room for development. I'm not saying to become a workaholic. What I am inviting you into is a process. Process means there's room to grow. I know that feeling where it's like everyone comes to me for all the answers and all the advice, and I'm the go-to person. I'm the SME. I don't know what they call the people where y'all work at or what field y'all in. They call it SMEs.
I was about to say, what is SME?
If you're that person, that is beautiful. But in order for you to grow and expand and unlock things that are not unlocked for you, unlocked things that are inside of you that aren't accessible yet, you need to surround yourself with people that are higher than you, that are more experienced than you. If you're constantly pouring out to people, who's pouring into you?
Right.
Even if you don't decide to pick up the book, I definitely think that you guys should do an evaluation of the room test with the people that you surround yourself. And if this is something where you are that top person and there's no other environment in your life that you're the bottom person, or even like there's people above you that can pour into you, you might want to reconsider your surroundings or reevaluate or something. Are there any other things that you wanted to point out?
I think we got enough to get them up off the couch to go get this book.
This is a really good book, y'all.
If you're struggling in finding your purpose or finding your moment,
or even what to do, like how to navigate and get a guide through walking in your purpose, because it is not easy. No one wants to walk blind.
It's hard enough to find your purpose.
Yeah, walking in a room in the dark that you're unfamiliar with. If this is something that you are struggling with or want more insight on, want more direction on, definitely pick up this book, y'all. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Stay tuned.
We are going to have a guest speaker. We just need to figure out the schedules, but we are excited.
It's on the way. We're gonna have two guests. That episode and then back to back.
Back to back.
I'm Kyle Alexander.
I'm Michelle Lee.
We out, y'all.